Today is day one of sewing a capsule wardrobe, and today we're making a maxi skirt. I originally sketched this design for a T-length skirt with a flare at the bottom, and after draping it on my dress form, I have enough fabric that I can make this maxi with still some sort of ruffle or flare at the bottom, and that's really exciting because I love maxi skirts. So let's go make a maxi skirt. I make all my pattern paper out of recycled plastic bags, and since I'm going to be using this method for everything in my capsule wardrobe, I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how I make it. I take standard plastic grocery store bags and cut all the handles off them. Cut down one side of the plastic bag. There's a little bit with some folded and fused bits here. Take a little extra time to snip all those out. Then keep going down the center of the bag to the other side with the little folded fused bits, and then snip those out and then lay everything flat. And once I have a few plastic bags disassembled, I tape them together to form a sheet or a pattern paper. It's a pretty simple process. It's cheaper than buying pattern paper or muslin, and you get to recycle some plastic bags in the process. I don't know if I can get up, dude. My back hurts. I drafted my pattern by pinning my sheet of plastic bags to my dress form. I used a Sharpie to sketch the waistline of my skirt and trimmed out the excess pattern piece above it. And I created 2 pleats on the front because I want this to be a fairly fitted skirt. I marked out the sides of my skirt along the hips and then created a second line for the ideal amount of ease I would put into this pattern if I have enough fabric for it. Then I patterned out the back of my skirt using the same process as I did on the front. I started with the waistband and created 2 larger pleats on the back. I realize I keep saying pleats, but after thinking about it more, I realized these are darts, not pleats. So anytime I just said pleat, it's really a dart. Sorry. And I marked out the darts on the back of my skirt as well. And I lined up the side of the back of the skirt to match the side of the front of the skirt. And I marked out a rough hemline all the way around the bottom of my skirt pattern. This isn't going to be the hem of my skirt, it's going to be where I start the ruffle or flare along the bottom. Now that my pattern's done, I can start cutting out my fabric. I love this fabric so much. This is kind of a medium weight, still really drapey fabric, and I don't remember any of the care details because I always throw them out when I wash my fabrics. And I've had this one quite a long time. I actually bought it back when Hancock Fabrics was still around. I miss them. They had such good stuff. Like this. I love this fabric. I think it's perfect for a skirt. And I probably gotta go iron it before I make a skirt out of it. So let's go iron it. And that should be good enough. I live with the little wrinkles in my life. I'm not gonna get every little wrinkle out. I'm just trying to press this flat enough so that I can cut out my pattern from this fabric properly and not have any like super bad wrinkles that ruin the pattern. That looks beautiful. Let's go with that. So after laying all my fabric out, I thought about it and realized I don't want to cut my fabric out yet because I have not drafted a pattern on my dress form yet that was fitted on the lower half. So I need to make a mock-up first just to make sure this is even gonna fit right and that I even padded out my dress form properly. So I'm going to make a mock-up using this crappy polyester fabric that I've been using for mock-ups and will probably continue to use for other mock-ups in this capsule wardrobe. So I'm just gonna make like the top part of the skirt. I'm not gonna do a full skirt. I'm just gonna do the top part, see does it fit, and then if it fits, we can make the full maxi skirt, just cut into the purple fabric. It'll be great. If it doesn't fit, then I can figure out where I'm going wrong and adjust it on this mock-up first. So let's go make a mock-up. I really, really hate doing mock-ups. That's what that was for. I am ready to make my mock-up. So I have folded my patterns in half, and now I need to square up my patterns to make sure all the darts in there are in the same place, you know, the sides the same, to make sure that the right side of my skirt and the left side of my skirt are exactly the same. I'm going to cut my patterns out along the fold line, just like I would with a commercial pattern. So I was gonna add a zipper on the side, but it's just a touch too short. So I'm gonna add about an inch to the front panel on either side of the skirt, and hopefully that'll loosen things up and make it fit properly. And then I also really like the front of the skirt. I think it lays nice and flat, but there's just a touch of buckling on the back side right at the waistband. So I'm gonna maybe trim the back of the waistband by like a ½ inch to kind of release that buckling and make it so it sits better. And I don't want to do any more with the mock-up, so I'm just gonna alter my pattern and then get right into sewing my purple fabric. So I drafted in some extra width for the side of my front panel and trimmed just a little bit on the back side. I quickly realized I only had one option for the layout of my pattern since I don't have a lot of purple fabric. So I lined up the hem of my skirt with the edge of my fabric and faced my front and back of my skirt opposite ways on the straight grain of the fabric. So that basically means the top of my fabric and the bottom of my fabric are gonna meet at the waistband. But I don't think that'll be a problem for this fabric since it only has that like texture horizontally across the cross grain of the fabric. So that should be still the same on both sides. I pinned the key points of my pattern to my fabric and added seam allowance along the edges when I cut them out, just like I did with my mock-up. And since I added width to the front panel of my skirt, I also have to make the waistband longer. So I'm using just the back piece that I drafted for the waistband since it's longer anyway. And I cut out 4 pieces. Well, that was a lot of work for me today, and I think I might be done for the day because I got my mock-up sewn together and fitted. I made the alterations to my pattern, and I got all my pattern pieces cut out, which ended up not being super easy, and everything except for the ruffle, which I'm gonna make out of this excess fabric here. I'll have enough once I figure out how this skirt actually fits me, then I'll figure out what to do with the ruffle then. But I have some messes that I need to clean up. I need to put a different needle in my sewing machine, and I have the rest of the weekend to work on this. So I think I might be done for the day. I try not to sew when I'm too tired or when I've done enough in the day, because that's when I start making mistakes while sewing. That's when I like use the scissors and cut the center of the fabric, or when I destroy it in the serger. So I don't want that to happen. I don't want this purple fabric to get destroyed. So I think I'm gonna set this down for the day and come back when I'm feeling more refreshed and can focus better. A hard cut to 2 weeks later. After like 3-4 years of the pandemic, we finally got COVID, and I got it pretty bad. I've been like on my ass for about 2 weeks, and even though I got a good head start on getting this skirt patterned out, I lost all that momentum and all that extra time I gave myself, and now I'm behind. Now I'm like at least a week behind on this project, maybe 2. So hopefully I'll be able to get this done today or tomorrow. I might not be able to work on it tomorrow because there's like a foot of snow outside and we have to shovel that to be able to get back to work. And I need to get back to work because I've been off for 2 weeks. And I don't know what else to say. I'm tired. I need to get this done. So let's get sewing. I started by pinning all of my pleats and the side seam, just like with my mock-up. And I traded in my serger so I could serge all the raw edges. And I pressed everything nice and flat. And I sewed in some interfacing to the waistband because it didn't want to iron on properly. Then I used a ton of pins and sewed the waistband to my skirt. Then I serged all the way around the raw edges of my skirt, including the top of the waistband. I ended up cannibalizing a zipper from my circle skirt mock-up because it was the perfect size for this skirt. Then I pinned my skirt, I sewed my skirt, and I pressed my skirt. I carefully pinned my zipper to my skirt, and I sewed my zipper on by hand using a nice sturdy back stitch because that's what I'm most comfortable with. I folded my waistband in half and pinned it down so I could stitch in the ditch all the way around my waistband. And I sealed it with a hook and eye closure. Now that I can try my skirt on, there are 3 things that stick out to me. One is I absolutely nailed the fit issue I had in the back. There is no more buckling anymore. It fits much better. The second is the zipper is not invisible the way I wanted it to be, and I think that's just because the material is not holding the little pressed folded edge I made here. So I'm just gonna have to deal with that. That's a little unfortunate. It's not gonna look as nice as I wanted it to. And the third thing is that this skirt sits a little bit lower than I drafted it for. It doesn't sit at my natural waistline, it sits a little bit below. And if I take out an inch, it sits at my natural waistline. And I think that's because after doing my mock-up, I added an inch to my pattern, which added a total of 2 inches to the waistline. But it's very comfortable like this. And I originally wanted this skirt to be a very comfortable, casual skirt to wear. So like something I can wear to work and sit down all day and still be comfortable. So I think this actually might be a good amount of ease at the top. And I think I'm gonna leave it. And if I wear it a few times and feel like, no, I really wanna hike it up just an inch, then I can always do that then. But I am Not gonna do anything else with this. I think this is good, it's comfortable. I'm gonna move on to the ruffle. So I used a ruler to measure out an even hemline around the bottom of my skirt. And I measured out the longest ruffle I would want to add to my skirt. It's also important that when you do take a hem measurement like this, you allow your skirt to hang overnight, either on a dress form or on a hanger. This will allow the fabric to relax, and sometimes you're going to end up with maybe the left side is longer or shorter than the right side. So this will account for any issues like that. And I've already had mine hanging out for a week because I haven't been able to get back to this skirt all week because I've been working. So mine has already been hanging and it is ready for a hem. Then I took my remaining fabric and squared it up a bit. And I cut it into lengths of fabric just under 10 inches wide. Then I squared those lengths of fabric up and laid them all out so I could pin them into a long tube. And sewed that tube together with my serger, as well as finish the raw edges. I pressed up the bottom of my ruffle because I thought that would be easier to hem before I attached it to the skirt. I gathered the whole length of my ruffle and pinned it to my skirt with a ton of pins. And since I already finished all my raw edges, I just had to sew the ruffle in place. And I pressed my ruffle lightly from the inside. And then I fixed my zipper a little bit with some hand stitching. Dizzy from that. This is such a great maxi skirt. I love the length so much. I think I've said it on this channel before, but I'm only 5 feet tall, so it's hard for me to find maxi skirts and maxi dresses, and I'm trying to get more in my wardrobe because I really, really love them, and this is just the perfect length. And there's just so much more I could say, but I can't even really think of what to say or how to say it at this point. And I'm tired and hungry and kind of nauseous from spinning in some circles today. So I think we're done. I really did enjoy making this skirt this month. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you left a like on the video, left a comment down below, or subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with me when I make the rest of my capsule wardrobe. Thank you guys so much for watching my video today. I will see you guys next time.